Hello, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Romanpuss here with the one, the only, the big bad zaddy Whitebeard Shirohige Edward Newgate himself. Now, homeboy's a monster, the first light type to ever exist in all of One Piece. Bounty Rush as a whole. We're going to go over anything, everything. If you have not read his traits, I strongly recommend doing so. Get familiar with his skills and his cooldowns, and you'll kind of learn, because we're not going to go over those in this video, but you are able to access them at the locked characters or on his current banner if you're watching this while his banner's still on. Anyways, let's dive in, and we'll start with our stat recommendations. All right, to begin, I have played several games, and I have been absolutely obliterating with him. Going on 12-game win streak to start was kind of nutty. I generally think attack or HP and defense is a really solid build. So that is an option if you're trying to go for as tanky as possible. Now, he does have that trait, so when he takes more than 50% of HP, he'll get an extra 50% damage reduction, which will actually overcap him with a large amount of damage reduction. If you're just on your flag, you'll have the complete 100% damage reduction. If they are buffed, they'll have 130% damage reduction, plus whatever you have in your support. So if you have Grand Line or Zoan, that is the thing. Zoan doesn't really apply to him, given there's no dark types out there at the moment. So that doesn't fully work. And if you're fighting a Whitebeard, then that would be the only other light type. So Grand Line Zoan's a little bit trickier with light types, and it's a little more awkward rather than your generic red, blue, and green. Now, for those of you that don't remember, light is super effective against red, blue, green, and it's weak to dark colors. So just keep that in mind as we're on this video. So, the other option that you can do is attack and HP. The reason I think attack and HP can work very well is because we're still in an area where there's a lot of people who have ignored defense, aka other Whitebeards that are showing up in the meta. You will be fighting a lot of other Whitebeards. It will happen. So I do think you can run HP attack, because if you have more HP and you don't have full defense built, you can still get hit for really heavy amounts of damage, which would then give you the extra 50% damage reduction, thus decreasing and making you take less damage than you would in the first place. So generally, I think those are your better builds if you want to run attack defense. I think that's an option, but I would generally stay away from it, because defense is kind of supposed to be better for those those flat damage healers. Like, since Edward Newgate heals percentage based when he attacks a tremor unit, you don't really need the defense, and if you just stack HP, you're going to heal from a percent. And then if you take more damage, you basically want to allow yourself to take more damage in order to make you take less damage, if that makes sense. It's like you need to cross the finish line in order to win, right? In order to get that trophy. So you got to let them do a lot of damage to you, which it will initially proc. It's all going to be calculated damage in the background of the game, and then you'll get that 50% damage reduction, which could end up making you take even just 1 damage. You could end up taking single-digit damage if your damage reduction ends up being high enough. So it depends on where that's at, but it will help significantly. You just won't notice it as much. Next, let us discuss the Whitebeard Pros. What makes him strong? What makes him crazy? The first thing is Tremor. Tremor has always been a fantastic status effect. You can knock people down out of it, but if you just do it right, you do have the 50% chance to Tremor on your normal basic attacks, on your third hit, when you're going about it. So if you want to keep Tremor chaining them, you can do that. Otherwise, if you're just trying to optimize damage and don't want to risk the 50-50, like if they're about to die, you could just go 1-2, 1-2, and hit them with the Tremor. It's a fantastic ability. Your allies can hit them. You can hit them. You heal off them. It works really well. That kind of dives me into his next pro, is his healing. You get that percentage heal, so it doesn't even matter how much attack you have built. If you want to build 0 attack, you can do that. You will just heal back up, and it actually, you hit multiple times. So if you need to heal fast and quick, you can do your press and hold basic attack, which allows you to get that multi-hit in really a little bit quicker than you could with your regular basic attacks. This dude has much quicker basic attacks than the previous versions of Whitebeard. It is significantly noticeable. The next one is his damage reduction. He has 50% when his flag is charged enough. He has a 30% damage reduction when he's fighting a unit with buffed stats. And then he has an extra 50% damage reduction if he ends up taking more than 50% of his HP bar. That is a lot of numbers. Bear with me. Rewind if you need to. So just take it slow. You can make it work. Make it happen. Math's not hard. Anyways, your ability to stop runners is kind of another thing that you have going for you. When they take a flag when you're near it and you get that attack buff, you have all of that going for you. he has so many things that help him out in order to stop the current meta that is a lot of people just walking up to a flag and just taking it. So he is the best unit at preventing that, and especially the cancerous meta that has become, it has been very helpful and it has increased win rates significantly. The next one is he actually has really high damage. Like, his attack stat isn't that crazy high, but he does have ignore defense on his skill 1. Your skill 1's kind of your main damage source. Your skill 2 is your utility in order to stop the runners and provide macro kind of guidance along with your team. So you can just watch your minimap, make sure you're watching your minimap. Emphasis to those bad players, watch your FN minimap. That's the most useful thing you can do when you're trying to use your skill 2. Otherwise, your skill 1, you'll have it back up. You have a trait that gives you cooldown when you get hit, which will give you the cooldown back really fast anyways. Your next one, you have ignore defense on the skill 1. You have the ability to map control. You can block off flags from far away, and you can hit people and tremor them from afar, which will help you, and maybe just stall it until your teammate can get there and back them up, if not yourself. The next one, you have knockback to knockdown, which allows you to stay on your flag. So you're tanky, you have knockback to knockdown. And on top of all of this that they've giga-loaded this character with, you reduce status effects by 80%, as well as immune to tremor yourself. So Whitebeard's not really missing much. There's like one thing that destroys him, and we'll get into that once we get to the character counters and kind of his cons as well. We'll start with it with his cons. Alright, the cons to Whitebeard. Basically, if you fight people immune to status effects, they can wither you down. It's just something to be wary of. People like Gear 5 even can be proven troublesome, even though he becomes status effectable once he's below, I think, 50% HP, I believe is the trigger. Just watch out for things like that, because you may be able to fight him off, and you may be able to fight off 1 or 2 people, but if they keep running at you and you can't status effect them, you're not going to have heals, you're not going to have sustain, so it actually becomes noticeable and can be a struggle if you're fighting too many people like that. So just be careful, try to find those people you can tremor, and make sure you hit them and can focus them if you are getting low. Next one is be careful of the characters that can ignore damage reduction. There's Charlotte Biscuit Boy with his skill 1. There is Film Red Shanks with his skill, the teleport skill. I don't remember which one's which. And then there's a couple other people, like I believe, what's his face? Raid Chopper. Raid Chopper, I think, ignores damage reduction on his like last basic attack or something like that. So just be careful. They're out there. If you are new to the game, read through as many characters traits as you can and kind of pick up who like counters you if you can. Generally picking up what the current meta is going to help you the best, but if you can read as many traits and get familiar with as many characters as you can, that's going to be the most ideal. You can start with the newer ones because they'll generally be the only ones that are played in the current meta. The next one is his heals are kind of based off status effects. I've already touched on this one a little bit earlier. As I said, if you can't status effect, you're not going to heal. You can get withered down and you can get whopped. So you're not unkillable. You just have really nice heals, and if they're the right units, and if they hit small amounts, then they'll absolutely annihilate you. So just be careful. There are characters out there that destroy you. Most people don't play them, but they are out there and will destroy you. Alright, next up, let's talk about the characters that you counter. Who do you counter? Pretty much anyone you can status effect, you're going to be golden, because it makes it really easy for you to just tremor them, and you can just perma-tremor them until they're dead. And you also hit really hard, and you also ignore defense on top of it. So that's a lot packed all into one. So if they're tremorable, easily killable. But if they cannot be tremored, that's where it becomes a little bit trickier. Or if they have the reduction to status effects, someone like Charlotte Biscuit Boy, just honorable mention, can be a little tricky. A Charlotte Biscuit Boy one more time can be a little bit tricky. If you didn't hear it the first 2 times, Charlotte Biscuit Boy, the sweet commander, Big Mom Pirates, happens to be a big threat. I would watch out for that. Anyways, the characters that you counter are, like, as I said, anyone you can tremor. You are very tanky. You can hold your own. You just have to play it right and play it smart. So if you run into someone that can like whop you, be careful. I would say that's the main people that you counter, the ones that you can tremor. Now, the characters that you counter. In case you didn't hear it the first several times before, Charlotte Biscuit Boy tends to be a problem. Now, you can kill him. You can do damage because you do have ignore defense on that. And you can hit, like, wither him with basic attacks. Like, you are light colored, so you are good against red, blue, green. It's not like a huge effect, but you are good against them. So for the most part, you have like the base advantage going for you there. So Charlotte Biscuit Boy is going to be hitting you for less in terms of just damage on all of his skills except for the skill 1. So that's the main thing. If you can dodge his skill 1, and if you're able to dodge his biscuit soldier thing, you should be all right and should be able to win it, no problem. Other kind of counters are Film Red Shanks was another go-to. He's someone to watch out for. If he side checks you or if he has his full attack stacks, he will be a big threat and he will chunk you hard. Now, if Film Red doesn't have his hockey state, you can win it pretty easily. You just got to tremor him once and you should be able to wither him down and kill him. Other people that I think have gone under the radar that many people are not paying attention to are someone like Monkey D. Garp. Like Prime Garp is phenomenal against captains, can reduce defense, has just a lot, and can like increase skill cooldowns. So, like Garp can hold his own. Now, obviously Garp's not going to be attacking, but if you are a Whitebeard trying to attack the defender Garp will probably be fine and hold his own, and he has heals. The other one being Jinbei. Raid Jinbei, to be specific, is the defender one. The blue defender, Raid Jinbei. Very good. Does huge damage against, whatchamacallit, Devil Fruit users. That's the word I'm looking for. Holy yikes. So, in general, you won't be fighting defender versus defender fights too often, but if one of them decides to push, I think this never really works in general, unless you're like someone like Big Mom who can turn into a runner. But like, defender versus defender fights, whichever defender's on their flag is usually going to win. Like, I feel like a good 9 out of 10 times, depending on the circumstances and depending if they're meant to be played in a different role. But so just watch out for someone like Jinbei and someone like Albert. I'm not gonna say Albert's a counter, but his skills hit really hard, so just be careful if you see an Albert on the map, because they will chunk you for a lot, and if you can't heal back up or if he gets his perfect dodge, it's still potentially going to be problematic. You do have multi-hit skills, but it can still be problematic. All right, lastly, let's talk about medal recommendations. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of options, so if I miss any, please put them down in the comments. And if those of you looking for medal recommendations, feel free to look at this chart that I have here on the screen, as well as down in the comments. You might find some different options or ones that are kind of easier for you to get a hold of. So my number one recommended is probably going to be the Kaido set. There's that old event Kaido one. If you don't have the old event, see if you can get a hold of the hybrid Kaido. You can get medal fragments for characters you don't have playing with them in League Battle. So the more League Battle you play, the higher chance you can get of getting the fragments that they have. So potentially could get hybrid Kaido if you don't own him. Metal fragments, I understand, are a little bit difficult to get, so just bear with me. If you can get the triple Kaido, it works well. It gives you the skill 1 cooldown even faster than you can get already before. You get damage increase on your flag, as well as extra skill 1 cooldown when you get a kill. Now, would skill 2 be nice? Yeah, but these already have fat triple tags. You're already going to have your skill 2 is not even a bad cooldown. They're really short, in fact. So I think this Kaido set works best for him. Next, you hit the Bartho set. If you want to focus a little bit more skill 2, I don't particularly think you need to. I think your skill 1's your bread and butter because that's your invincibility skill as well. You can go with the Bartho set. Gives you damage reduction, gives you skill 2. It's nice. I did try this set, although with a little bit different stats. I did the Enel set. It does give you skill 1 while you're on your flag, and then obviously mine's only level 80, so I wasn't able to get the skill 1 cooldown that I had, but I was able to get the extra damage reduction. So it can give you up to 20% damage reduction while you're alone on your flag, which can be huge and can make your damage go down to 0. This one's nice and can make you unkillable God Factor, but just be careful. I don't know. I think the Kaido set's just better. I think the Kaido's just a better version of this in a way. Also, I want to throw this last one on there for fun. If you're feeling spicy and you want some new and aesthetic, you can go for the color Whitebeard metal grind. If you want to go triple Whitebeard color metal, you can. I don't necessarily recommend it because they don't really go well for him, because one of them's immune to tremor and you're already immune to tremor, so it would just be redundant. So you have that event one. You have the 2 young Whitebeard ones. Unfortunately, those 2 don't have the Yonko tag on them because when he was younger, he was not a Yonko yet. So he does have the former Rocks Pirates, though, on there, so you do have that tag as well. It is missing some skill 1 on there, so you do get the skill 1 from getting hit from the new Whitebeard medal, which is the center one that you see there. So you'll get 2% cooldown on your skill 1 from getting hit, but it does not have the tag with the base 20%, so just something to watch out for. If you guys have other options or you guys think anything that's great, I honestly think the Kaido set is the best in slot for him because it's, 1, the Kaido set, which is just insane as it is, and 2, it works really well because his skill 1 is his like go-to skill. So you can just spam that and you can be invincible and you can tremor and it's just insane. So anyways, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys found this guide useful. Hopefully it helps you all get to what you need. So make sure to check out my Twitch, Twitter, and Discord. If you guys could like and subscribe and even share the video, I would truly appreciate it. But that's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, morning, evening, whatever time it is for you. I'm Romanpuss, and I'll be taking off. Yeah, holy! Peace, beautiful people.